In this video, we're going to discuss the requirements and guidelines for VET in Tasmanian schools, with a particular focus on the new VET Pathways approval process and what does this mean for schools delivering VET in 2022. To start with, it is helpful to revisit why the requirements and guidelines were developed. The requirements and guidelines for the delivery of VET to school students is a product of the Years 9 to 12 project, Vision for Vocational Learning in VET to 2030, and the Vocational Learning in Tasmanian Schools framework. These frameworks form part of the cross-sectoral initiative to improve education, training and employment outcomes for young Tasmanians. The VET sector in Australia is undergoing major reform, and all of the requirements, roles and responsibilities included in the requirements and guidelines were informed by recommendations and findings from national, state and international reviews, as well as direct feedback from local Tasmanian stakeholders. At a state level, these include the Australian Council of Educational Research's review in 2016, which led to the formation of the Years 9 to 12 project, and the VET and vocational learning forums held across the state in 2018. Nationally, these include Strengthening Skills Review in 2019, more commonly known as the Joyce Review, which continues to guide national VET reforms, as well as the review of the Australian Qualifications Framework, the Australian Skills Quality Authority Regulatory Strategy 2019 to 2021, and the review of senior secondary pathways into work, further education and training. Based on the recommendations and findings from these sources, the Requirements and Guidelines document was developed. It was endorsed in March 2021 and signifies a cross-sectoral agreement to provide clear direction on how VET is implemented and supported for secondary students in Tasmania. To highlight some of the issues sitting behind the development of the requirements and guidelines, let's look at some key points that have been raised through the submissions to the Joyce Review and we heard in our local consultation. One concern that we heard is that students are leaving school with qualifications but lacking in understanding and comprehension of the application of these skills. It has also been raised that VET in schools does not offer adequate pathways into secure, quality, sustainable employment once students finish their course and leave secondary school. This is thought to be because the qualification typically undertaken by school students may not provide sufficient training or skills to meet the needs and expectations of industry and employers. Concerns have also been raised around the volume of learning for Certificate 3 qualifications delivered in schools. This is the time the governing body ASCA identifies that a learner would take to develop all the required skills and knowledge. For a Certificate 3, this is 1,200 to 2,400 hours, which is difficult to achieve in a school student's timetable. A number of the implementation and companion guides for training packages also specifically state that Certificate 3s are not appropriate for delivery in a school setting. The Joyce Review also heard that some qualifications may need to be identified as not being suitable for delivery to secondary students. For example, if there are significant concerns about whether school students are realistically able to achieve the necessary level of employability skills that is required. So what does this actually mean for schools delivering VET? The requirements and guidelines are designed to help schools guide their students to choose VET programs that provide a meaningful pathway to further education and training and/or employment. VET is a curriculum developed by industry primarily for the use in the skills sector. The focus for us is to maintain integrity of the VET training products we deliver by effectively integrating these into the school system with consideration of our particular learner cohorts. To do this, we need to be thinking about both the pathways into a VET program and the pathways out of a VET program. In the requirements and guidelines, the pathways in are related to the career counselling activities that should be occurring and ensuring that the programs are aligned to the students' needs and abilities. The impact of the pathways out component for students undertaking VET programs is significant. And because of this, as part of the requirements and guidelines, certain programs have been identified as at risk. These are qualifications at a Certificate 3 level or above and qualifications at any level prior to Year 11. To minimise this risk and address concerns raised by stakeholders, the requirements and guidelines include restrictions on the delivery of these programs. That is, approval must be sought for training that allows a student to attain a Certificate 3 before the end of Year 12 and for students to enrol in a full VET qualification prior to Year 11. The VET Pathways approval process has therefore been developed for those exceptional circumstances where a school is planning to deliver a Certificate 3 or above, or a full VET qualification to Year 9 and 10 students. So how exactly is the VET approvals process going to work? In 2021, we have developed a pilot VET Pathways approval process. Schools who submit an application to deliver one of the restricted programs will receive feedback. This feedback is being developed through industry focus groups that will determine the place of these qualifications in the broader workforce development activity of Tasmanian industries. The feedback will include expected conditions for delivery, and schools should use the feedback received from the approvals process to inform their planning. At the end of the pilot in 2021, the VET Pathways approval process will be evaluated to make sure it will effectively meet the needs of our schools as they work to meet the needs of industry and learners. This is a significant change for many, but we are committed to partnering with schools in this process and as part of our collective responsibility. We all want the same thing, and that is what is best for our learners. We also acknowledge that every school is unique. We respect all contributions to this process and will support the implementation of the process within each school's particular context. Together, we can continue to strengthen the quality of VET delivered to secondary school students in Tasmania. Please feel free to contact Years 9 to 12 Learning with any questions or for support.